Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to Back and Connect the Dots. In this video, we would like to talk about RAML and how it is useful in the MuleSoft development. Okay, what is RAML? Actually, the full form of RAML is called RESTful API Modeling Language. It basically helps us to create the RESTful APIs. It's actually like a template when you are trying to create an RESTful API, right? So it's actually we create a blueprint of the RESTful API and how it is used, like what is your RESTful API looks like, and what are the endpoints you are want to point it out. This is actually blueprint of that RESTful API. It is very easy to learn and it is very easy to read it also, like in it all you can, by reading itself you can understand like in what are the endpoints, what are the you want endpoints you want to create it to your API, and what are the methods you have created for your API, and we can add keeps on adding on. Basically RAML is developed based on top of YAML based language. It was built in on this top slide, of I would YAML. Like to talk about the uses of RAML. As I mentioned, it is very easy to read and it is very easy to write also. By looking at structure of the RAML itself, you can understand like in um what is implemented on that REST API. And it also supports like in traits and types. You can say it as like a reusable code. I'll show you in the further development while creating the YAML how the traits and types are used. For now, you can say it as like an it's a if you want to don't want to duplicate the code or something like an if we do it in the development, right? We create a class and move it into other reusable code we will be writing. The same way we have like in the RAML we have traits and types which can be used for the reusability, and RAML also helps in the documentation and mocking the services also. In this slide, I would like to show you something like in what is the basic structure of the RAML looks like. If you see this, this is the basic structure. RAML needs to be started with hashtag percentage RAML 1.0. That's the latest version. And you can give the title of your application and version and the base URL for your application, and define the resources and the methods. Like in what are the, if you see the line number 7, we have mentioned out like in uh, slash users is our endpoint, and get is our method, and here is the response how it looks like. And if you call this get users, this is a sample response you might be getting in the from the API. This is how it looks like. This is a sample. Yeah, in this slide, you can I want to discuss like a main components of the RAML. The title is the main thing. You want to whenever you create a RAML, the title is very important, and the version is important. If you might be having like in multiple versions of your API in the real world scenario, so the versioning is very important. And the base URL, it's basic URL for to access your endpoint API, and the resources and methods are nothing but your endpoints and their methods, you can say it as. And you can also in the RAML you can derive like an URI parameters for the application for the endpoint you want to mention it out. I will show you in the further development, and the query parameters as I mentioned, and traits and types I will show you later in this. In RAML, the security schema is also supported. So you can implement like in basic authentication security or OAuth authentication. These are the two main security schemas you can apply it on the RAML. Apart from there are other things also. But for now, we'll discuss about what is basic authentication and OAuth authentication and how do we implement in the RAML. I'll show you in the next coming up to show you like in how to create a RAML template in our design center. Once you got a log into your design center anypoint platform, you have to go to the design center and create a new RAML. For example, if you want to create a new project, for now I can you can go over here on the left top and see you can create plus icon. So you can say like an API specification. As I mentioned, API RAML is a API specification blueprint of your application. So this is the first step. You create it. You can create a name of, you can give the name of your application, and you can choose the RAML whatever the version you want to use. But RAML 1.0 is the latest version, so I'm using that and create an API. So for now, I have already created an application called backend connect the dots. So this is our application I have created. This is our main RAML. As I mentioned in the previous slides, title is very important and the description. And I have given the version of my application. Is it a first version? So as I mentioned, the base URI is important for your application. What is the base? How the users want to access your application. So here is the base URI. So I have given the HTTPS environment backend connectthedots.com/API/version. So here is the URI parameters, base URI parameters have derived over here. Enum as an environment as an enum, so I can use this base URL dynamically changes based on that for the dev environment, test environment, and the production environment. As I mentioned, security schema also can be implemented for your RAML application. So to show that what is the security thing they have to get token or anything to access your application. So I've mentioned my security schema is like an OAuth authentication 2.0 I'm using for to access my application. So I have mentioned like in what is over here what's the security schema and security. I have created a folder structure to maintain easy to maintain and easy to read. So I'm importing that file, the schema RAML, security schema RAML from this folder, and this is the file. Once you open it, you can see this RAML in the line number one. It says RAML 1.0 and the security schema. So, and the type is OAuth 2.0 and the token will be passed in the header authentication. And if someone passes the invalid token or expired token, they will be getting the response in 401. So this is a specification I want to implement for my application, the security scheme. Uh, Next step, you can see that I've created one endpoint for my application. It's called Hello World. So, Hello World. So in this endpoint, I can have created a get endpoint. Is a method. Get method is one for this endpoint. So this method is taking a query parameter called name and type of string. And I have also implemented the pattern, regex pattern to for this query parameter because if someone in the name they don't want to pass the Gmail ID or anything, right? So email address. So I would like to restrict only to pass the mm, alphabets only in the name. So this is and made them as a required so that it will be mandatory to pass the query parameter for this endpoint. If they want to access hello world get, they need to pass that name query parameter mandatory. If they don't pass it, the API will be automatically throwing an error saying that name is required. So it is very in the RAML design only we will mention it out like in what are the specifications we want to implement to our API and the response if they pass the name and the response also you can see like in what is the sample response you can include in your RAML saying that if they pass the right name so it will be saying like in 200 is our status code and the format will be response will be in the application slash JSON and here is a sample response I have given like in how the message will be coming to the end user. So once you here if they pass it for example if they pass like in hello and backend connect the dots as the name they have passed to us so this will be the response they will be seeing in the if they call that API. So here this is the design specification as I mentioned this is our you can by reading itself you can understand like in how the our API is going to look like. And here in the documentation, you can see like whatever the endpoints and what are the security schemas you have implemented, you can see over here like this. So I have sent saying that URI parameters, they have to pass the environment and the name is required in the query parameters, and the sample response you can see it in over here. Uh, if if you go to the security schema, as I mentioned, this is a security schema. They have to pass the authentication in type of string in the and if to access this endpoint, this complete application, any endpoint in this application, they have to pass the security token to access this. For example, I would like to show you like and if you want to create another method saying that add user, you can see dynamically it's changing on the documentation side, and you can use this uh, pre prompts coming over here like and if you it will shows like and what is the uh, endpoint you want to create, and if you I want to create a post method, you can see that can post, you can just click it on the post, and you can add a description, display name as add user to database, and description has I'll add for now same as description also the same, and for now I'll say like in body in the post method we will be expecting body, right, to get that. So I'll say that my body should be passed in application JSON format, and you can put a JSON schema validation for the body also, like in request body also, what is the request body you want to add it, and you can add the example of how the body should be look also for and you can add like an example, and once you add the example, and also you can add the sample responses also, how the responses looks like in once the body is passed correctly, and the response code like in 201's successful or not. And here also you can say the sample response of creation, that will also in the form for now I'll treat it as the response will also comes in the application JSON format. In the one other thing, main key thing in the RAML is like an indentations are very important. If you miss the indentation, the RAML will be automatically throwing an error. So if you see this have missed the indentation in line number 34, I can see like in my project is saying like something is wrong in line number 34. So we have to be careful with the indentation. So for now, I think you got a basic understanding of how do we create RAML and how do we imp, uh, implement our endpoints and what are the this is a basic structure of your once you create the basic structure, the first step of your design of your application, you need to you can publish this to the exchange. Exchange is nothing but where you can give this access to your business and get approvals from them before you actually started implementing your API design in the Anypoint Studio. You can publish this to the exchange and get the business or the approval saying get approved from the business saying that whatever they are expecting looks like, and you can mark the API also in in the business. They can see like an you once you give the access to the Anypoint access to your business, if they have access, they can go over here and test your application also from here and see like in what is the name they want to give like in and backend connect dots and send, and they will be getting a response like in how it looks like. If I add something, so you can say is invalid, as we mentioned, right, that we added like in regex pattern, there it can be only accepted by numeric like in alphabets. No other special characters are accepted in this regex pattern. So they can test it over here and they can get once you get the approval from your business and you can start developing. Thank you.